everything is close by. That's what I like. I make everything as close to home as I can get it.
So tell me about going to Riverview, Dad.
I think all kids wanted to go there. You know, was the rides, the bobs, the parachutes. I don't recall. I probably went there alone when I got a little older. It was like a place to hang out. Yeah, they had bingo. And my personal opinion is that I think they closed it because of a different crowd starting to go there, and that's just, I might be 100% wrong, or maybe it was just time to get rid of it. And if you go back on the computer, people send, people's got old-time postcards and that. You'll see a lot of pictures about Riverview. But compared to other parks all over the rest of the country, it was minimal compared to other places. I think when I was in the Army, I went to visit somebody in Cincinnati or somewhere. I went to the boardwalk or something, I'm not sure. The more I think about it, your mother and I did a lot of traveling. You know what the hell? We went to Aruba.
I remember you went to Aruba.
We went to Mexico. Went to Canada to play bingo. A couple other places, I don't know. Then we take a trip now and then. One day I called her up and I said, I'm going to take a couple days off work. I said, let's go to Lookout Mountain or Mammoth Cave. So we just got in the car and away we went.
Yeah, that was the weirdest thing because you didn't tell anyone. No one knew where you were. It was craziness.
Where's Mammoth Cave?
Kentucky. And so then we finally get a hold of Mom, and she's like, we're at Mammoth Caves. We're like, yeah, sure
Well, now,
you are.
now, did I put in there about going to Cuba?
No.
Well, when we were kids, we used to save our money. We all had little grocery store, stuff we delivered. So one year, there were 6 or 7 of us got in a car, and we came down to Florida. We started off at Kentucky. We dropped one of the guys off at Kentucky to see his girlfriend. So we drive all the way down to Key West. It's got this sign, Q Airways, 3 days, $79 or $80. So we went to Cuba. Stayed in, I forgot what we said, but we went to the Club Tropicana, which was a big place then. So we come back from Cuba, man, we thought we were all big shots there, And then we'd go to Florida. And every year, as I said, we'd save our money and go someplace. And now going to Florida from Chicago, you only had, I think it was Route 41. Is it 41 that goes there? What's the outer drive?
41.
Yeah, 41. And those are only 1-lane highway, 2-lane highways. You don't have air conditioning in your car. And then we'd be fighting and trying to buy beer somewhere. And 3 guys sat in the front, 3 in the back, and one we call the rack, the thing in the center. You had to sit on there. But we'd come back and we were like big heroes doing all this stuff. It cost us a couple $100 a piece.
Whose car was it you got to use?
Pardon?
Whose car did you take all the way?
Well, one guy had an Oldsmobile, and I think we went in that. Like another guy had either a Kaiser or a Fraser. I don't know which one he had.
They stopped making Oldsmobile in Pontiac?
My brother had an Oldsmobile. In fact, that's what I used for my wedding, and I liked it. So he had an Olds 88.
Yeah, I had an 88.
Now, my buddy, Joe, his first car was a Hudson. And you had to step down to go into the Hudson. It was a nice car, but they had no resale value.
114, Jillian, 114.
I never even heard of a Hudson.
Pardon?
Never even heard of one.
Yeah, Hudson. I don't know who sold Hudson, I'm not sure.
You ever hear of a Hudson, Tom? I heard of it.
So it'd be all guys?
Pardon?
All guys on the trip?
Oh, yeah. Then you sign in to go to a motel room for one person, everybody piles in it. But when we went down to the Fort Lauderdale, we slept on the beach. There was nothing, just a couple little or 9. There was nothing there. There was a house that the people owned. The mother-in-law had a trailer in the back. And for 100 miles, you could just see mountains there. I would like to go back and just see Tucson now.
Dugan just bought a house in Arizona.
Pardon?
Dugan just bought a house in Arizona.
Oh, yeah? Nice country there.
Yeah, retired also.
And you get up on these damn mountain roads, and you're lucky you got 2 cars that can go by each other. Every now and then you look down and there's a car that fell down there. I was pretty fortunate, taking a couple trips at that time. Then, the night, I think I borrowed my brother's car for the wedding, I'm not sure. So we're coming back from the wedding, we're going to go to our apartment on Beacon Avenue, and your mother's suitcase broke open and there's shit all over the street on there. So then a friend of mine let us borrow his car, and we went to Wisconsin for a couple days to stay with some friends of mine, so we spent a couple days there.
That's your honeymoon?
Huh? Yeah. 2 or 3 days, whatever the hell it was, I don't know. Because we didn't, I think, the guy says, you go ahead and use the car, you can have it. And these friends of mine, Scaglione, their family, they owned a place, I can't think of it, it's very popular now. All that stuff became popular as hell. Instead of them old shacks, they tore them all down, and it really made it quite a place. But we stayed there for a couple days, and
What was your first apartment address? Do you know?
it was on Clark Street in Beacon. Beacon is just a block north or a block south of Montrose, I'm not sure. Right off Clark and Beacon. There was a school across the street. I can't think of the name of the school. And then we stayed there. And we got the apartment. And that's when my uncle lost his tenant or somebody died. So we decided, well, we might as well go to Newport for the same rent. It was a lot bigger. Luckily, we had someone from the railroad that leased the rest of our apartment lease on there. But Newport was so much bigger and everything, and it was a beautiful apartment, real nice. We had all new furniture in there. The people who owned it were Armenian or Assyrian. Nobody ever gave you heat at night. Nobody. And they'd have thick sweaters on them like this, walking around their house. And there were no storm windows there, so it was cold in there. Then, that's right, then your mother would live in there, so she's making dinner one night. So she made a ham dinner, just a ham bone and that. So after dinner, she dumped the whole thing in the toilet, ham bone and all. So we said to the landlord, the toilet's not working right. And so got a plumber out, and so here's Reeves, he got the ham bones right in there. And then the first turkey, she didn't know that you had the guts inside and all that.
Right.
Plus that, well, I guess it's popular today, she cooked it up. Yeah. Plus that, she cooked it upside down. But I guess people do that now, too. But she didn't know all that stuff was inside there. Yeah, when I said to the lad, I don't know how the ham bone could have got there, Where the hell do you think it's going to come from? Just going to manufacture itself? But when I go by Newport now, they still have the same outside door that's been there, when I was born and raised there, and probably got new windows. I'd like to, how that property ever got valuable, I'll never know. Never. I had a guy I worked with for the school board, and he said, I just bought this condo on Halsted and Newport. I said, Halsted and Newport? I said, shit, I got out of it. I was born and raised there. But then they changed it to, used to be called Lakeview, and now it's Wrigleyville, I guess, now. So, now it's Boys Town, yeah. And when I go around the back, down the alley, because usually when John and I go there, we park the car and walk all around the neighborhood. And I picture my father sitting on the first floor in this wouldn't move or something, so he got out of the car, and the guy took off like a shot out of hell, and he looked at him. But one day we're tending bar at the tavern, and I think it was a big party we had for Thanksgiving. So there was liquor set up on this side and liquor set up on that side. So maybe I poured the guy a shot in the beer from the right side. So the next drink my father gave him. The guy says to my father, he says, that's not the same drink. And my father said, well, yes, it is. And the guy told him it's not. So my father says, look, he says, why don't you do me a favor? He said, why don't you turn around that bar stool and tell me what's behind there? And the guy said, a wall. He said, you turn around and tell me that that's not the same drink, and you're going right through that wall. So, but I never heard, in fact, I never heard my mother and our father really ever have an argument. I've never heard them have a bad name. The only thing I ever heard him say, my Uncle Tony was going to go on there. They used to have these trips to St. Joe's, Michigan. They must have been beefing. He said, I hope it rains. But I've never heard them talk about anybody. And they were like a Jekyll and Hyde. He has all kinds of love and bullshit in him, you know, and my mother was exact opposite. He had thousands of friends. Everybody liked him, you know, big guy telling jokes and stuff. And my mother would put him in his line, too. You know, if we'd have a party or something, he'd say, you're going to get somebody here to clean this thing up, because I'm not going to do it. But you figure you got somebody 400 pounds, somebody else is, you know. And I think what my mother was sort of mad about, he had a good friend of his who was a judge. That why he didn't get him a job. Anyway, he finally did work for the TB Sanitarium as a gate guard over on Peterson Avenue. He did pretty good there. But he always had menial jobs, worked in a grocery store, worked in a pharmacy, all kinds until he got the job with the TB Sanitarium. And then what would happen, what would happen when you're that size, I guess it's like a person being a drinker. People would come to work at night, used the gate guard, they say, hey, my wife made this crap, I ain't going to eat it tonight, here, take this. And somebody else would come through and say, you know, my wife made this special dinner just for you. And when he worked at the tavern one night a week, the customers would come in. You know, they'd bring and say, my wife made this for dinner tonight. And so people were always bringing you food all the time. But he never had a bad word for nobody. In fact, my Uncle Frank's girlfriend, Marie, I guess you could call her girlfriend, my father was one of the only people in the family ever talked to her. He didn't care, nothing. Huh? I know, well, I know, it's,
What, she was no good?
She was divorced.
She was married in a civil ceremony. And the Catholic Church recognizes that. So,
You know what that means? The civil ceremony.
Right.
well, you know, by the Justice of the Peace. No, it's a church. She was married in a church, but she wasn't Catholic. So, she got a divorce, and the Catholic Church recognizes that divorce. That's not, but you can't marry a divorced woman. So he went out with her for 50 years. And then finally I think they got married when they got to Florida for a civil ceremony. And then when her first husband finally died. But it was crazy. My uncle went to church every day down in Florida. He followed all the rules. And I don't know if that's still in effect or not. It might be. I'm not sure. But the Catholic Church recognizes somebody else's marriage. So here they were together for 50 years before they finally got married.
So when we used to go see Anne Marie and Uncle Frank, she was married to someone else.
Pardon?
She was still married to...
Oh, yeah. Divorced maybe for years and years. She was divorced, but I don't understand some of the things the church does, but that's not my problem anyway. I just wish that all these churches would get the hell out of politics.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I had quit going to church. I went to Catholic grammar school, Catholic high school. I went to church in the Army. We first got married. I used to go. And all of a sudden, I just quit going. I don't know why. No reason, no nothing at all. I really don't know why the hell that happened. So then, while I was in the hospital next door, Tom and Fran from downstairs, they served communion there. And I said, I can't go to church. So they sent over a priest, and I made a confession, or whatever the hell it was, and so
Feel any better?
I'm all set up for the other world and this world now. Get my stuff in order here and jump in the next one. I got all these, well, you guys didn't go to Catholic schools, so they got all these different,
I went to Catholic school.
all these different things you got. If you went to the 9 First Fridays, you got something. If you did this, I got all that stuff all stacked up, you know, as
I went to St. Pat's.
but
You paid for it.
well, I went to St. Pat's too, but they closed the one I went to because they building the expressway right through there.
Oh, then you went to St.
They left the girls' school. So then I went up to St. George. We had Christian Brothers too. For some odd reason, yesterday, about Uncle Herb with the window store, I told you, and when I asked him one time, I said, and then when he finally sold it, he went to work for somebody. And I said, what's the difference in you and him? He says, he's smarter than I am. A lot of people wouldn't admit that, but
When you and Mom, when we were young kids, we always had cats. Remember?
well, that's what happened was I come home drinking one afternoon on a Saturday afternoon. So I'm laying on the bed, and in comes this. She puts this little kitten on the bed. Now, how in the hell can you get mad at a kitten, you know? So I says, all right, might as well keep the damn thing then. But that little cat curling, it's like they con you. They said, we're going to get this guy, you know.
And they always liked you.
Well, that's the guy they got to con. That's the guy you got to get. Cats are funny, even with dogs, too. If in the beginning you don't pay no attention to them, let them alone. They'll come to you. Same with kids, too, you know. Got grandkids or something, you know, leave them alone. They'll gravitate right to you.
How about when Mousy was a baby? Remember, Mal was like colicky?
I don't remember a hell of a lot about Mel.
Remember, you used to go over to Kathy's
Yeah.
just to walk her.
Well, I used to do that with Raquel, too.
Right, you used to go and just walk them.
Yeah, I did that with Raquel, too.
Because that's all you could do with
Because
them.
I had really, after going through this, you know, we forgot all the amount of times they lived with us. And Bobby and Tammy. Even when Raquel was... And then, you know, Bobby didn't want to leave. You know, he's got his mother doing his laundry, doing the cooking, watching the baby. Shit, all that was taken care of. He just come home, have dinner, and do what the hell he's going to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know, for some odd reason, they just even started off on the wrong foot. I don't know if they had paid for the wedding or not, and it just, one thing happened right after another. I gave him a car I had. I think her father gave him a car. Finally, he learned that he cannot have any money. And he don't have money. He don't want no. He don't even want to touch money. Because he don't know how to handle it. You know, if you're caught now, I don't know if I told you this, the day that they had a suit. I think it was a bogus suit that Tammy got hurt or something like that. So, they're living in Florida, and he gets a letter in the mail that they won the suit. And there's, I think it was close to $30,000, somewhere around there. So he gets this check, and he didn't want her to know about it. So, your mother endorsed it as Tammy. Well, you just don't work that way with them big checks.
No.
So then he got a hold of somebody who cashed a check for him for $1,000. The check was good. So he says to me, he wanted to give me something like $17,000, $18,000, or $20,000. I don't know. So we're sitting home, and your mother says, did you go over to Bobby's to get that money? I said, no. She said, what the hell's the matter with you? She said, you don't go today, I'll be gone tomorrow. So I go over there, he opens up this drawer, give me $16,000, $17,000. Then they went out and they bought a few.
Cash?
Huh? Oh, cash, yeah. Well, they had cash to check then. And she knew about it after that. Then the lawyer, as usual, he said, shit, if I'd have known that, I'd have cashed it for $500. But I thought, it's awful hard to cash a check that big. They want to see identification. But there it was right there. He said, no, come and get the money. And he just dished out 16, 17, 18 grand, whatever the hell it was. It didn't bother him any.
Tell the story about the time that you got Mom so mad at Bobby.
Well, I don't know what, he was screwing around with drugs and that and not working and whatever the hell going back and forth. And they weren't living with us then. And your mother drove me to work. And I said, I don't know what Bobby had done. I said, but I kept telling you got to go right by his house. You got to go right by his house, right by his house. So she went over there like a lunatic. He was going to call the police on her. So he says to her, Dad put you up to this. She said, no, I'm the guy who did it. I aggravated the living hell out of her. Then another night, he was staying with us. I think Tammy had the kids. And he went over to 7-Eleven. He went over got a milkshake or something. Walked over there, and he got stopped at night, and the copper says something about, what are you doing? Or what? He said, well, I live right down the street here. So the copper calls the house. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. Asked for Bob Benson. Your mother said, I don't even know him. So they stuck his ass in jail. Because you hate to answer the phone with stuff like that.
All right.
And what I would do, every now and then if there was a bill, Bobby never owed out much money because he could never borrow anyway, never had any credit. So when they call up looking for him, I'd answer the phone. They'd say, Mr. Benson? I said, yes, but this is Robert F. Benson. So they give me this tale of woe, and you know where your son is? And I said, nah. I said, but I'll tell you what. I said, if you find him, you call me up and tell me where the hell he is. So, but the fear I always had was if the two of them split up or did something wrong, what would happen with them two kids? Your mother and I couldn't handle both of them.
Right.
So I said, well, somewhere along the way everything would work out. So luckily it didn't happen, but somehow or another the kids made it through there. But it was tough on Raquel, very tough. Promises, and Tammy believes anything Bobby tell her.
Right.
I'd get in the car next week, and then they'd all. But it was very tough on Raquel. And then with Tammy letting her be homeschooled was the worst mistake she ever made, because today homeschool is 5 hours on a computer.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't get ahead and you can't get behind.
Well, one time Tammy was staying by us, and Bobby didn't come home for a couple of days or something. And, he comes up in the morning, and I'm sitting there, me, my wife, and Tammy, and kids, and Tammy's like, what the hell were you? And he's like, I was in jail. And he pulled out some yellow sheet, and Tammy's like, oh. And my wife's like, grab the sheet. That's a year ago, look at the date.
See, what saves Bobby's a good bullshitter.
Yeah, but Tammy believes it. My wife, read the damn thing like someone else would do, and we see. Tammy was just okay.
He always starts off every conversation with how much money he just made on his last job. I don't care. Then in the end, I know he wants to borrow something. And what gets me, he waits till the very last second. We're in Chicago, and he calls me up. He needed money to buy a license or something for whatever his work was. I said, Bobby, I'm right here in Chicago. I said, I don't know. I said, Uncle John's here. I said, I don't like to get you any money. So we went to Jewel or one of them. I guess you can wire it from there.
Yeah.
But it's always the very last second. And I'll say, I'm up in Maine. How the hell am I going to get you any money from Maine? Or how the hell am I going to do this? I said, at least, give me a couple days' notice, something like that. She was very appreciative today that when she called, I talked to her about the phone coming back, on for him. But he ain't got it. What the hell are you going to do? It's your kid. That's all there's to it. He just might not like it, but that's all right. I sure in hell ain't got no great record either, so. But them living with you, she's too touchy, too hard to deal with. And then I'd make them, man, I'd go out and buy corned beef and ham, make him these big, nice sandwiches to go to work. So he'd give it to his buddy there, you know. He's not just a hot dog eater and that. And then, you know, when she moved into somebody's house with Raquel, I don't know what to do with. Man, I got madder than hell. I said, you get right over to this house right now with that kid. I said, you can't do something like that. It was Raquel's birthday, that was it. I said, you can't do that. So I felt bad for Raquel. But you know, then she had enough fortitude she went and got her GED. And then her grandfather, the big shot, so he was going to pay for 2 years of her college. He didn't care what her grades was. He was just going to send her to school. So school's supposed to start in September, and I'm up in Maine. And Tammy calls me up, and she's all shook. I said, oh, relax, what's the matter? She says, my father backed out. He's not going to do it. I says, all right. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, you get her registered. I says, I'll pay her tuition, you know, for 2 years and buy her books or whatever the hell. Tuition wasn't that high. So I would put like $300-400 a month away. And then she bought her books and got her tuition. And because if that would have happened, wouldn't have happened, she'd have never went to school. Now she's interested in it. She's doing pretty well. She likes writing. She's on her own, going out with a different, you know, class of people. So, but somebody had to get it started. You know, now she's it. I told her, I said, you know, I can't help you no more. I said, now it'll cost you a little more for tuition. I said, but you're 21. You're going to have to figure out how to get a loan. But otherwise, she'd have never went. Now, Vaughn marches to a different drummer. He don't put up with none of their crap. He works, you know, whenever he can. I don't think that kid has got this much fat on his whole body.
Right. Oh, yeah, I see him.
He's got nothing at all, nothing. I mean, he's not big, but he's nothing. So Raquel will do all right. She'll have her ups and downs, but at least she's got a beginning there.
You got a car?
Yes. I don't know if they'll run too good, but, you know, and I told her when she wanted to stay there. First I was going to say no, and I said, you know, you're going to have to figure out something. I said, because I'm not going to be around. I said, you know, if I'm here, there's plenty of food in the house. If you need gas money, you know, everything is right there. I said, but as you're going to have to get money, you know, you're going to have to get a job and get money, and plus go to school. So she had a couple jobs, and she got involved in this, working for some little independent paper. Anyway, she gets a few bucks doing that and likes doing all this journalism, and she always said she wanted to be a writer. But I told her, I said, you know, once I leave here, I said, I can't help you anymore. Other than that, you know, I'd say, what do you want from the store? I'd bring the stuff. And then we'd go have dinner at Ann's house. And, but I didn't really think about it till today. Shit, I ain't been home for 5 months. I left June 28th. So that's 5 months almost. I ain't been in my goddamn house. Been all over the country, but nowhere else. But what it does when you do this, it gives you a good feeling that you're giving somebody a start. You know, you just say, I always just say, pay it back to the next guy, you know, when the time comes. Don't just say hooray for me and the hell with you. But Vaughn graduates this year. He's getting good grades. Any money he gets, he buys music stuff, you know. It's like with your son, you know. He's always buying this, buying that. And he's got his long hair. He's happy as hell. He don't bother nobody. He never did. He just always marched to his own drummer.
Right.
Remember he used to have like a Boston accent? I don't know, finally there, he lost that. I told him one time, I said, don't pay attention to them. I said, you just do your own thing, don't worry
He was living in
about
our apartment with
Pardon?
Bobby, and I'd hang out with the black guy upstairs sometime, Roosevelt. Big black guy. Roosevelt came down looking for me, and Roosevelt standing in my front room, and Vaughn's running around him, touching him, you know. I go, what are you doing, Vaughn? He goes, I never saw a black man before, Uncle Frank.
We went to
You used to it.
a restaurant one night, the Shirtail Charlie's. Yeah, I don't know, they had a band. He just got up there and sang. There was a band up there, and he just got up and, you know, did a little bit of a thing on there. Surprised the hell out of me. But even, you know, she'd even make trouble with them kids at the school. She'd go there and holler about something, and then when Vaughn graduated grammar school, I don't know if they forgot to add some award or something on there. Even one time Raquel told me, she said, don't bring her with anybody to school, She just got to put her 2 cents in there and make it tougher yet. I told her, I says, Tammy, you've got to learn one thing. You can make it through life. Just don't talk. Keep your mouth shut and you'll do well. And I told her, I said, the best friend you ever had in the whole world is Loretta. I said, whether you liked her or not or what she did, I said, that girl was in your corner 100%. She just wanted to make sure you were doing the right thing. And then we try to almost split them up, as if to say, what the hell, you're not doing nothing. Go your own thing, go your own ways. But Tammy is, no confidence, nothing. Oh, what can I do? I don't know how to do nothing. And I said, you can't do nothing. I said, she had a job working at Winn-Dixie. It's in the flower department, the flower arrangement. But no confidence. I can't do this. And she believes anything he'd tell her. Shit, I'd tell her, I said, what the hell are you listening to there for?
Didn't she have a job making cash? $1,600 a week?
Doing what? Yes.
Babysitting or something?
Right, that was a pretty good job. She got $600 cash. She was sort of a jack of all trades. She took the kids to church services, and it's got to be, then they kept wanting more and more out of her. But it was, that's a tough job to quit with the cash. Then she had another little one for a while, and I don't know what happened after that. But whatever happens now, if he gets out of this, because he'll end up getting disability, I'm pretty sure. That she's going to have to go to work. That's all there's to it.
Oh yeah.
Because if you get caught working, you're on disability. You got to be careful.
Disability amounts to about what Social Security is, right?
Yeah, it's tough. They usually turn you down once or twice, and you got to get a lawyer. And what the lawyer does is, let's say they're going to give you $1,000 a month. Well, they'll take a cut of that for a while. They don't just walk in and take the whole thing. But it's awful hard to go on. Even with my brother when he got hurt, they have to end up having a lawyer. It's just how the system works.
Can he sue his last employer?
Like Rosie, what Rosie said, she got out in about a year, didn't she?
I have no idea.
Because when she told me she got disability, then I started thinking, how the hell? But then she's got lupus, got this and that, so...
She's on disability?
Yeah. What disability does, how the hell does it work? Whatever they give you, let's say you just make up a figure, $500 a month, whatever it may be. Well, if they add a little, anyway, in the very end, when it comes time for you to retire, whatever those figures were is what you're going to get. You get, like with my brother, he got, Tim was 30 years ago, only 40-some years old when he went on disability. So his Social Security check at the end was whatever his disability was coming there. But when Rosie said she was on, I thought, how the hell did she do that? But then Uncle George got on there fast. I don't know how the hell he did it either.
Tell me about Uncle Tim's accident.
His what?
Accident.
I don't know. He was at work and somehow...
Where was he working, do you know?
He must have been in Illinois working on it because there are different rules in different states. But somehow or another, he got crushed with a piece of pipe. And he was in traction, I think, for 6 weeks. And my brother is very, between my two brothers, they lack a hell of a lot of education at different times and saying things. So he's in the hospital, and there were 2 brothers, I think, that were surgeons, or whatever they did. Somebody told him he could probably go back to work one day. Oh man, he was happy as hell. Another guy come in, he told him he can't work no more doing that job. So he says, now I know why Hitler put all you goddamn Jews in the oven, Just for coming out and says that to him. Like nothing to it. So then think he's in bed or something. He hadn't been out of bed in a while, and the doctor told him, you can't walk. You know, he got out of bed, fell right on his ass. They told him the same way, when you go on the toilet, everything is going to be different. But he just says some of the damnedest things. He worked at the golf course one time up in Wisconsin, and he wanted a day off. And the guy asked him where he was going. And he said, it's none of your goddamn business where I'm going. So they got in a big beef over it. He said, okay, I'm going to tell you where I'm going. He says, and if my house gets robbed when I'm gone, he says, I'm coming after you. He's just funny as hell at times. And he admits it too. He don't hide nothing about it. Like he said, he wished he was born in Mississippi because he only had to go to 6th grade to school. And he's funny with them kids, you know. They were, that time that he was up on a tree sawing down some limbs or something. I don't know if Timmy and Bobby were harassing him. He's got this saw. He's not come down and cut your fucking head off. That's what I'm going to do with that saw. So another day, Rose always waited for him to discipline the kids. So in his house, Timmy went upstairs for something. I don't know what they were beefing about. And Bobby's there, and Timmy says, my brother says, be quiet. Now when Timmy opened that door, he gave him a kick in the ass. And same with my brother John. You can't change him. All of his talking about all the stuff he did as a hippie and all that, and the language. And even my brother Tim at times when we play cards, and I know he don't mean this 100%, but he's on that black kick, and the nigger and this and I said, Tim, you can't do stuff like that,
It's out today,
Huh? You can't do that. You don't know who you're talking to. It's the person you're talking to might have a wife or a kid or something.
It doesn't work today.
It's a different world.
It doesn't sound right. When people talk like that, it doesn't sound right no more.
It's the stupidity. It's stupid. No two ways about it. You can't do it on TV. Who was the guy that used to sing for the football games? What was his? They just got rid of him.
Hank Williams.
Yeah, he made some I don't know what it was, but he made some remark about Obama or something that had nothing to do with his job. It wasn't on the job, and he was gone. Glenn Beck made a few remarks about the Jews, and next thing you know, he's gone.
Howard Cosell, right?
Well, Cosell was Jewish.
Yeah, but he got off the air.
And
he said, look at that little monkey run.
And the guy that they just got rid of on CBS, what's his name? 2 Men and a Fan, whatever it is.
Oh, Charlie Sheen.
He made some remark about him. He's gone. And then there was a guy on CNN I used to watch all the time. They get a little too big, and he made some remark about him. You cannot criticize them. The Pope can't even criticize them. Nobody can.
No.
Billy Graham tried it. All the movie stars tried it. They'll crucify you. So you have to watch everything you say today. And they don't play games. They fire you. Now, Howard Cosell one night, I'm watching a football game, and there was this black guy, I forgot what team, he was a little guy. He almost looked like a monkey, with the long arms. And he made that remark. He said, he looks like a monkey running up and down the field. And he says, I'm not going to apologize. He said, I didn't mean nothing by that. He said, I've been good friends with Muhammad Ali. That one was a little taken out of context. And Jimmy the Greek, one of his remarks was that he thought that black athletes were better athletes because coming from slavery, when you bought a slave, you bought the biggest woman, the biggest guy, and through intermarriage. And I don't know, but that had partially had him lose. But so, and a lot of that stuff is the truth, but you gotta watch what the hell you say. They had the guy that was going to run for president a couple years ago, George Allen. I think he played for the Bears. Had some name they called for blacks. That's some nickname. Threw him right out of the race. Just that fast. No monkeying around. It's a different world. People my age, and that's why I don't like older politicians. They all got these prejudices in them yet, and they're living them. You know, it's over. It's done with. You know, when World War II was over, if you were a soldier and you went in a bar and there was a German in there, you sat there and you drank. The war's over. He had a job to do. You had a job to do. If that was Japanese, so you just gotta let the world go. You just gotta let the world go. And people my age group have different ideas about gays. Things were a little different then.
Right.
Times change. You may not like it, but you gotta accept it. And that's just part of the ball game. I look at the little kids from that church where when there's a military funeral, they go in there and it's the gays' fault for the war or something. There's little kids 6 years old, this big, with a sign saying, "God hates fags" or something. That kid gonna walk into somebody one day and make that remark, and they'll be burying him.
Right.
You're teaching hate.
Yeah.
You can't teach hate.
No.
It's bad enough that I was watching a panel one night and they were talking about us dealing with Iraq and Iran. They said, we're dealing with people living in the 14th century, and we're trying to live with them.
Right. Trying to rationalize them.
It's just that they're brainwashed, you know, and that few little people control everything. So as I say, in my age group, gays weren't wide open at all like they are now. I never had much trouble with prejudices. St. Pat's had a few black kids there. St. George had one or two. I never really had nothing to do with it. Even in the Army, it never bothered me. It didn't make me. But guys down south, that was different. You know, I mean, they had a whole different attitude toward it. And you can't change them.
It's ugly, though.
Yeah, it's inbred in them. That's all there's to it. You know, and you see these black soldiers there, you know, they love the uniform. You know, they could put on that uniform. They got their 3 meals a day. They like the marching. And even then in the war, you know, they separated them. You couldn't fight with the whites, and you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. And then we locked up, locked up all them Japanese during the war, stuck them all in California in them camps. These people were born and raised here. I can see a little bit of fear in that. But the one thing we're not doing, we're not taking in wholesale Muslims from over them other countries. Like other countries, they'd let you in, you know. And we're not doing none of that. Of all the things I think that were going to be the future, that's going to be the biggest problem there is one day.
Muslims?
The Muslims.
Do you remember how old you were when you started to read?
When I what?
Started to read.
No, whatever time they do in grammar school, I don't know whatever the hell that was.
Did you ever have a favorite book?
No, I never did any reading, really. I don't know why. Till I read a book in the Army one time. It's something just had one layer. What happens if I start reading, then I finish the book? Like I just finished a couple of them up in New York. 3 cups of tea and something else, you know, that... Like now, the book that I bought, took out of the thing here the other day about Cuba. I got about 100 pages of it read already.
Really? Wow.
And I always thought that reading, if I want to read, I want to read for knowledge. I don't want to read, yet I've read some good books with good stories, but I'd like to learn something from it. And then all you're doing is reading somebody else's opinion.
Right.
Of course, now they have to put all these little bookmarks in there where they got their stuff from. But once I start reading, then I'll get involved. Like tonight now, when I go back, I don't even know what time it is, don't care. I'll go back, turn the TV off, and I'll start reading that book. Maybe I'll read 10, 15 pages. Maybe I'll fall asleep. I should have been doing this a lot more. And then her daughter would get me, she'd have the Kindle, is that what we call it, and then she'd let me, you know, read that and had the book there. And every now and then I'd pick up a book that, as I say, I would have been interested in the one you gave me, but I don't know, there's something about it I didn't like the beginning of that. I thought it was going to go way off on a tangent. But then I read a book, Anne had a book at her house in Maine about Joe DiMaggio. And for about a couple years, so finally I started reading the book. There'd probably been quite a few books about him. And I always respected him as a ball player. I never really liked him that much, but he was a no-good son of a bitch. And, I mean, you know, he wouldn't sign an autograph for you. He wouldn't, anything you wanted, you paid for.
Yeah.
He was the big hero in New York. You'd go to restaurants, he'd get free meals. And then they'd want a girlfriend, they go into town, they get this. So then he's got the nerve to talk about the Kennedys or the Sinatra and them with Marilyn Monroe, you know, where he did the same thing himself. And something happened with him and his kid, but he was loved in New York, still is. Oh, DiMaggio. But he was nothing for nothing. Now, I'd have to look up something in the book again. They got this hospital down here, you know, with Joe DiMaggio thing. But if I read correctly, he was hiding money or something, or doing some damn thing. Whether or not he gave that voluntarily instead of a penalty for something, I'd have to look into it again. But there again, in that book, there's a lot of excerpts from other people, you know, that wrote stuff on there. And I didn't know there was that much trouble to writing a book till Ann's son wrote a book. You got to have everything in there, who did this, who did that, where your information came from, make sure. And his is on education, bullying. And, but if I start reading the book, then I'll finish the whole damn thing. There was a couple, I don't know why I bought the, what was with the two movies about the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons. I saw the one, I started reading it, and I started reading the other. Now I wanna see this movie. I thought it would do better, but but I want to see the movie on J. Edgar Hoover.
Oh, Aunt Pat and Uncle John are going tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to see that, but it didn't draw the biggest crowds because it's 50 years old.
Right.
But I think he may win the Academy Award for it.
Gabriel?
And also in the movie, Judith Dench is his mother in there. I like her. She's a good actress, too. And then I want to see The Iron Lady. That's Margaret Thatcher with, the hell's her name? I can't think of her.
That British actress, isn't it?
No. She played in Martha, or what the hell's her? Been in all kinds of shows. What the hell? Played the cook, Martha. What was it, Martha? What was the big cook's name?
Oh.
She played her.
No, the other one. Julia Child.
Yeah.
Julia and Julia.
Yeah. She's a great actress, though. Very good. She's been nominated quite a few times. But I like going to see a good movie with good acting. And DiCaprio, well, probably three of the best movie actors, I have to go through the alphabet, is DiCaprio. Is he DiCaprio? What's the guy from that the Bourne Adventure? What's his name? Damon DiCaprio, and I can't think of the other guy's name. They're writing the first 4 or 5 letters of the alphabet. But I enjoy going to a good movie. Some of them, though, like the last one he played in with this, a dream inside of a dream inside of a dream, it drive you nuts. And then Shutter Island was another one that he played in.
What's up with that?
Yeah, and he played, I didn't see the one when he played Howard Hughes, and he played the one about the doctor who was a con man, but he's a good actor. But I like to go see a good movie. Probably what I don't like is now after I went to see Patton, which he won an Academy Award for George Scott. Then another movie come out, The Centurion, I think it was, and he was only in there about 5 minutes. So his name, brought people in. But when we were kids, the big actors were Spencer Tracy,
Humphrey Bogart.
Clark Gable. I can't think of all their names. And then you had Liz Taylor. And they were all the big name stars then, making all the big money. She was quite a woman, too. Very charitable. Very good with the gay population. Got married 100 times, but made a lot of money, married a couple different guys, broke up a few marriages.
Well, your favorite actress was that one blonde, wasn't it?
Angie Dickinson.
Angie Dickinson, didn't you really like
No, one of my favorite actresses was a girl named Ann Blythe, I think was her name. She was a good actress. But at that time you had a lot of you had a lot of Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin movies were out. You still had the Laurel and Hardy, and going way back, some of these different stars. And everything was in black and white.
Honeymooners.
All movies. I think the first movie I seen in color might have been the Ten Commandments, I'm not sure. And they perfected the color, and then that's what everything became. But you know what? A lot of times on Saturday night on the public channel, they got an old movie on there. Edward G. Robinson was another guy I liked in the movie. And it's all in black and white. And they still say the best movie of all time is Citizen Kane. And that's in black and white. I think Orson Welles plays in that.
So depressing. It's so depressing.
Well, I think it's Orson Welles that's in that. But when we were kids, everybody went to the movies. That's all you did. We used to go on Friday night, and then on Sunday, a whole group of us would go to the show.
Did you ever get sent to the principal's office?
No. But what I did do, I worked with a couple of hothead guys that were under me as an engineer. And this one guy, the principal wanted to see us about something. And I kept telling him, I can't think of his name right now. I'd say, keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. I walked in that office and she said something. I walked right the hell on out. She was trying to accuse one of the janitors for something. I said, you cannot do that just because you think that the janitor did everything wrong. And here I'm telling him to keep his mouth shut, and I'm the guy that got up and walked out. But and that's one thing your mother didn't like about the job as a janitress. It's like the teachers as if like they looked down on her, you know, and that bothered the hell out of her. Like, you know, someone saying, well, what the hell does she know? She's only the janitress, or she's just, or they had that little bit of a thing that they're a little better than you. You know, they got the college degree and they're the teacher and that.
Yeah, well, they're making 50,000, you're making 20.
Pardon?
Well, they're making 50,000, you're making
Yeah.
20, so whatever the difference was.
But that's a class thing, you know. It's
Right.
it's just one of them things that. So that bothered her at that, because she always did great work. Well, I think I told you the story how she got her job back, didn't I?
I don't know. Tell me.
Well, she's working at Schur's as a janitress, as a temp. So they get a phone call, and the chief says, Loretta, there's a woman going to come take your place tomorrow. She's a teacher's aide. She's civil service. She said, well, we got to get rid of you. So this woman comes in the next day into the office. And there's this old chief there, Goodrich. He's about 70. The supervisor, and a guy who looked like Kojak. So this poor woman comes in there. And the chief says, I see you were a teacher's aide. He said, you know what this job entails? He says, well, first of all, you got to clean 100 toilets. He said, then you got to do this. And he's jumping up and down there, badgering this woman. So she says, can I use your phone a minute? She calls downtown. She said, I don't want the job. She gets on the phone. Okay, Loretta, come on back to work, you know. because they liked her. She used to, when we worked at Schurz, she used to ride her bicycle into the boiler room, and she was good friends with then she used to clean the supervisor's house now and then. And anyway, she went to work for another guy by the name of Benson. And the supervisor hated to have people call him up. He didn't like to be bothered. And he was going to do something. Lee says, if I was you, I wouldn't call Mr. Marshall. He don't like phone calls. Well, I'm going to call him anyway. And he came back, he said, I guess you're right. But that's how you protected each other in them jobs, you know. Man, they were laying for this poor woman to come in there. They just crucified her. And then what he used to like with the chief is I'd pick up her check, you know, both checks on the same day. But every morning she'd come in on that bicycle. Well, that was another one. She was working at another school, and the guy says, you can't bring that bike in here. She says, well, Mr. Marshall, I do it. He's the supervisor. So she said, I'm going to call him up. Here, he said, I'm going to call him up. She said, I wouldn't do that if I was you. Next thing you know, she's got the bike right in there.
It's a big deal, you know.
But,
guys are just like that. Right.
But she made friends with all them people. They all liked her. And she had some good jobs with the board. She made some pretty good money there. A lot better than what she would have done in some of the political jobs they wanted to give her. I can't think of much more incidents she had at work. I'm not sure. She never was a problem. All she always wanted was her own room where she could finish her work, go up there and sit down and do some drawing or something like that. So she always had that pretty well done up. So, and then she had a real nice, you know, when she worked at Faulkner there, now you just got to go across the street to go to work. The kids are going to school there.
That was a long time ago.
Then, as I say, when I wanted her to become a fireman, she went to the class. Something happened, then she says, the hell with it, I'm not going to do all that studying anymore. She said, I don't want to be a fireman anyway. So that's a lot of money.
So what schools were you in, Dad?
Oh, Christ, I can't remember them all. Probably.
Started in Mather.
Yeah, see, from Mather, I went to Portage Park. Then I worked in a small school called the Henry for a little while. And then I went to the Hibbard, which is on Lawrence, where I spent 4 or 5 years there as a fireman. 4 years or 5. And then when I got promoted, then you're traveling around, you know, you're taking the places the guys that are off sick. I think I spent the most time at the Smythe School. I might have been there 7, 8, 9 years, I'm not sure. And I spent quite a bit of time. It was one of my biggest mistakes at DuSable High School. Nice school, good crew. I left there to go get overtime at the Juarez School. The overtime got thrown out. I had problems there with the
guys.
With the Spanish people. You know, they wanted all this stuff. Plus that, I was at the top of as high as you could go in the salary bracket. So I took a cut in pay to go to this other school. And that's how I ended up with a couple bucks less.
What was the school by Maxwell Street?
John M. Smythe.
That was the Smythe?
Yeah, I worked there a long time. Then I worked at another school called the Goblat. Used to be a Catholic school.
I've been to Smythe with you a few times.
Pardon?
I've been to Smythe with you a few times, me and Bobby.
But I liked working at Foreman High School. I liked high schools. When ever the season would start, I'd call up the guy who assigned us, and I'd say, can you get me a high school job as an assistant? I said, I don't care if I work days or nights. I just liked being in the high schools. And then I ended up
What year did you go to
being
Foreman?
in charge. Huh?
What year did you go to Foreman? Wow.
Mostly when I first started, so it had to be in the 60s, I guess. Right after I started. But I always liked high schools. I liked Schurz High School. I worked there. I worked at Amundsen, Steinmetz, a couple schools on the south side. Well, just like, it's hard to, those jobs aren't real. You know what I mean? And we think they are. But those jobs really aren't. They're just different. And once you're in there, you ain't getting out. That's for damn sure. And then with the school board being that big, each group had their own little clique, that they all hung out together and did all their cheating on overtime or, whatever the hell you could get away with at that time. It's tough to do all that. In fact, today, you do something wrong, they fire you today.
Yep.
They don't play no games. That's my only beef I ever have against the unions. I think you should be 3 strikes and you're out. If you do this stuff of when you're wrong, that's it. But I guess a way back before I started, the engineer used to get money, and he distributed the money for the budget. So you'd hire friends of your family to come in there and all that. And in a roundabout way, you were like a god in them schools. Nothing got done without the engineer, nothing. So they'd say, I'd come in the morning, I'd have breakfast sitting there, they got your bacon and eggs and whatever the hell you wanted. And, if you didn't have all that, that's how you got your work done. They had it was really a great job, no two ways about it.
Your union was 143.
Yeah. And it's affiliated with the operating engineers.
And then you were on the pension board too, right?
We had it was like a group that watched, new plans coming out or maybe what do you think we should try. In the end, all decisions are made politically. But it was nice. I met some nice people there. Used to go to dinner one night a week. We went to these meetings. And then I was also on the executive board for the union, too. I got in there and I stayed there. I stayed there until I retired. So you got to get in on a few decision-making things. And all in all, as I say, it's the greatest job in the world. And now I know it right now because I'm sitting here now, not worrying about a paycheck coming in the goddamn mail. But, it took this guy a long time to talk me into going there, my father will get you a job. I said, hell with that job. But as I say, since that time, I can probably name you 15 or 20 people I got jobs for sent them to go see somebody where they could get a job. The best was this friend of mine, Tommy Mann, the guy who bought his house. I think he got fired from the fire department. Tommy was a smart man. He was involved in politics almost in grammar school. But he got to drinking quite a bit. So every now and then he had a political friend, he'd get somebody a job. So one day I'm in a tavern there with him, and he's not working. I said, I can get you a job. He said, oh yeah? I said, wait, I'll be right back. So I made a phone call, and I said, you got to start tomorrow. Man, he was shaking like a leaf, He said, what do you mean? I said, tomorrow you go down there, you sign the papers, you go to work tomorrow. What a shame. Guy had all this knowledge, and his whole world revolved around drinking. We used to go to the tavern where your niece and them just lived, Lakewood Lounge, right there on Lakewood, and
Addison.
he said, I think I'll put a washer and dryer down in the basement. He said, then when the guys come to do their laundry, they can have a few drinks in that, I says, Tommy, people don't want to come to the tavern to do their goddamn laundry. He was infatuated with drinking, and he wouldn't work behind the bar. He'd come home from the fire department. He'd sit there all day. I said, why don't you get behind the bar and make yourself $10, $20 for the day? But he just got worse and worse and worse. So finally he ended up, I don't know why I didn't go to his wake, but I think he ended up dying on the streets too. He was a big guy, a big powerful guy, and you could just see his deteriorating as time went on. Everything involved drinking, everything. They put him in rehab. He'd come right back out of there again.
Did you ever go on strike?
Yes. In fact, we got off strike the day my mother died. I forgot whatever year you said that was.
1987.
I don't think, though, when we were on strike, I think I went to work anyway for the protection of the building. I don't recall just saying I'm not going to go into work tomorrow.
Make sure it didn't freeze up.
Pardon?
Make sure the building wouldn't freeze up.
Yeah, you know, and then when they used to do this bargaining in January, the one time when the teachers were on strike, you know, I'm not going to, I guess I could say I crossed the picket line, but it was more or less to go in there to go to work, you know, to make sure that, you know, nothing's going to, even when they have these big things with the steel companies, there's always somebody goes in there to maintain that, you know, maintain them boilers and that. I think that we might have been on strike a couple. And then crazy things happened when the teachers went on strike one time. Somehow or another, they got, every time they'd go back to work, they got paid for all the time they missed. And I did go on, how it worked, I don't know, unemployment one time or something when we were on strike. But then there was one, the last big strike, the teachers settled, and they said school will be tomorrow. So we had a union meeting, and somebody, we're not going to open up the school just for the teachers, or we're not going to do this. So the president of the union guy says, listen, he said, the word is out on the streets, the school's open tomorrow. He said, do you think we're going to sit here, 700 of us, and keep the schools from being open tomorrow? He said, what the hell? He says, use your head, will you? Because there are no winners in a strike. The sad strike now is this thing in basketball. Here's all these people making, they average $1 million a year pay, whatever the owners make. They got a great life, and look at all the little people they're keeping from working.
Right, all the people.
The vendors, all kinds of people.
Parking people.
And you're not talking about something where there's no money. There's a ton of money there. It's just who gets what percentage. It's like in this country, we're not broke. The money's sitting there, you just want to move it around in a couple different ways. You know, these I think the cheapest, I think probably the least basketball players pay. I think they all make over $1 million anyway. Yeah, it's a high thing. And both sides are sitting there fighting over, you know, just the principle of the whole damn thing. Well, we want 50%, you can only have 49, and so I don't know what the hell they're going to do. So far, I guess the season can't start now till December or something like that.
They're going to catch the whole season.
What the fans ought to really do, which they never will, is just boycott it. Say to hell with it. You guys aren't poor, you're making money, and you're keeping other people from working. But you know, they had a short football season, wasn't it, 1 year? Yeah. Or baseball, whatever the hell it was.
Well, we got football too, they had the scab players.
Yeah. But it's a shame to see, especially without the amount of people out of work, people fighting over making a little more money, you know, or none of them are poor. They got good pension plans. Now, if I feel good, I might even try Christmas at Mary's. But with Mary, you can roll right into her house. And then she's got an extra room downstairs. You could just make that a bedroom where it wouldn't have to go upstairs in the washroom. I would like to get there if I could, but I would just play that by ear. That's a month away, especially since she's got all that room now.
Right. Right.
And I get a kick out of two boys. There's something. One sits on one side, one on the other side. One here, one there. And they get spoiled when I'm there. Then the grandmother comes in there, and then she spoils the hell out of them. So they really got it made. And they got involved in soccer. You know, nothing real expensive. And I think Sean was going to try tennis or something. I'm not really sure. But it works out good. They get him up in the morning. Sean leaves. Mary walks him over to the bus stop to get on the bus. She's usually home around 3:15 or 3:30 when they get off the bus. And Sean takes him, you know, so it all works out pretty well. She's off on the weekends. He's off on the weekends. And, you know, things were a little tight there now. You know, he's making money and she's doing all right. And I told him one time, I said, you know, when you get some of these raises, you don't put that whole thing into your annuity. you know, he's worried about tuition for them kids. I said, when you get a raise, you got to live on it a little bit. I said, that's not how you get the raise for. You know, not supposed to get a raise and put it all right in the bank. But they're always taking the kids somewhere. It's just a nice little area where they live. You know, it's the place where they're at now is almost the same thing, except there's no gate guard there. And but the kids can play on the street. You know, they ride their bicycles around, and they're all South Carolina football fans. So on Saturday they have a big get together, and it's really nice. They have a good time there.